Okay, so another way we can study how KickVic is a bunch of grading nutcases is the study of political ponerology. Note I said ponerology, not pornology. What is what is ponerology, you ask? Ponerology, derived from the Greek for poneros, which means evil, is the study of evil. Major subdivisions include the nature of evil, origin of evil, and evil in relation to the divine governance. Polish psychologist Andrew Lobachevsky did came to these conclusion came used this as the base of his study of Marxist communism's communist hierarchy, the hierarchy back in the 50s through the 40s through the 80s. And what is his study find? Anyone who is a woke, leftist, Marxist, communist, fascist, socialist believer, they're grade A psychopaths. Yeah. And when you look at Crunchyroll, and when you look at the members of the KickVic cabal, it's possible they all suffer from one degree or another of narcissistic psychosis. The six at the top are Ron Toye, DC Douglas, Damon Mills, Chris Sabat, Monica Rial, and Mars Girl. I would have thrown Marchi and Sean Schimmel on this, but they're too lesser to an extent. I mean, yes, Sean Schimmel is an overkill diva who thinks he's the only one who should play Son Goku, and hates anyone else who's played him, sans Kirby Morrow following his death, whether it's Steve Bloom, Lex Lang, Ian James Corlett, Peter Calamus. You get the point. But then again, that's the consequence of having only one major role to your damn name in his case, as most of his other stuff is related to Pokemon on and Yu-Gi-Oh! Mostly in the latter, in both, lesser roles. Though you could say his role as Cyrus during Gen 4 was probably one of his best villain roles, but the point is still applicable. I don't know if that's Evie or Jordan, but let's get back to the point. But out of the six, Mars Girl is probably the worst. Because, yeah, I know I'm beating this point like a dead horse already, but I know I am beating a dead horse by making this point. But she's done this to not only clean herself off in her own vain attempts at covering up her involvement in what happened in the getting rid of her involvement with the Jew Wario cover up, but she's aiding and abetting in larger cover-ups at Crunchyroll. People like Sabat, Mills, Toye, Douglas, they all jumped on the chance to use her article that incriminated Vic with little to no evidence to throw him under the bus and get him fired because they were afraid of if he got any higher in the corporate ranks, he would have uncovered everything and undone it all, exposed it to the public, and demanded that the company be shut down, which I wouldn't have blamed Vic if he had done it. Tell me, Evie, do you think the same of me, even though I at least try to branch out? But again, this psychosis spreads to whether it's actors in the industry, writers, studio owners, web influencers, regular schmoes who've got nothing better to do with their damn lives, or a combination of those five previous attributes, or any combination of one or more of those five classifications. A Dr. Steve Turley video kind of explains this. I'll leave a link in the description box to the whole deal. And yeah, we can say the same about Russell Brand. The only difference is in his case, it's the British Parliament that's trying to shut him up, not not a single company. So it's a much larger scale in Russell's case. This is right. And when the world is run on a political level by nutcases, do you expect anything less? They're going to project their own BS on the scapegoats. And for Chris, Damon, Ron, DC especially, and DC especially, it was a perfect opportunity. The article Mars Girl put out in 2019 with the doctored photos was a perfect opportunity to cast a scapegoat. And they chose Vic. So, knowingly or unknowingly, once again, Saucedo has been aiding and abetting in larger cover ups. The only difference is this time she claims she has nothing to do with it. Again, Kaylin, you did have something to do with it. But overall, this has never been about stopping pedophiles. This has never been about keeping Vic out of the workplace. This has never been about defending victims of abuse and pedophilia. It's all been about you trying to wash your own stain involved with your involvement in the Jew Wario cover up. Excuse me, someone went down the wrong pipe. But in doing this, you've again aided and abetted in larger cover ups. I mean, case in point, when the Damon Mills allegations hit the airway, hit the news cycles last year. Did you come to the defense of the victim who accused him? No. You brushed it off and turned a deaf ear. For as much as you've not done it to the least of my brethren, you have not done it unto me. The old sheep and the goats parable of how the world will be, what the world will be like at the final day when the trumpet sounds in the final day. The world divided by good and evil, sheep and goats. Sheep going to heaven, goats going to hell. What's the difference? It's what the sheep and the goats did and did not do, respectively. And you chose to turn a deaf ear to allegations that had legit backing against Damon Mills, a man who is a known domestic groomer. Because you had committed yourself to the tunnel vision of getting rid of Vic Mignogna. It's no wonder why you're so universally despised. It's no wonder everyone who's in KickVic is hated by the community. Because many of you demand, and in some cases threaten conventions to not bring Vic in and terminate and withdraw the contracts because you peddle the same fucking lie. You think you're in the right, but you're wrong. You're a narcissistic, self-serving sociopath, Kalen. Sure, I've done wrong, and done at times done I stand with Vic more harm than good. But at least I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. You, on the other hand, don't want to admit when you're wrong. And I'll put it like this, Kaylin. Do you have more subs than I do on YouTube and Twitch, as well as more followers on Twitter than I and Facebook than I do? Yes. Do you have a greater media outreach than I do? Yes. But do you have the intellect, the humility, and clairvoyance to read between the lines of what one is doing? And when one screws up, is willing to admit that they did something wrong? No, you don't. You lack that intelligence. All you care about is chasing clout, keeping yourself relevant, because this is all that gives you a means to an end of keeping relevancy. But people are seeing now you're nothing but a grade A nutcase. It's why many cons in California have blacklisted you the same way you basically coaxed many of them to blacklist Vic. Which is why I'm doing this now. Saying it now, Mars Girl. You are pure evil. You've lost yourself in the scramble of self gratification, and it's destroying you to the point people won't buy the lie much longer. I think day by day, fewer and fewer are refusing to believe the lie any longer because you regurgitate it year after year, month after month, week after week. If there were any victims, why have they not come forward? Because they want to do it on their time, not have someone exploit them for selfish reasons. Especially someone who's a known hypocrite like you. You tend to clean the outside of your cup and dish, but inside it's full of greed and self indulgence. Clean first the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside shall be cleansed. You're a whitewashed sepulchre or grave marker. On the outside, it's clean and fair, but inside, it's full of dead man's bones and everything morally corrupt. Mother of vipers, snake. Do you have any hope? How do you hope to escape your condemnation to hell? Yeah, that too, Evie. Why do you think in the spring there was a Kick Mars Girl account that popped up on X? Granted, in my own right, I was a little suspicious of it because there was a PayPal account. I mean, there was a GoFundMe account attached to it, so you can't blame me for being that suspicious about something like that. But that being said, ponerology has you pinned, Mars Girl. You want to keep being a projector of your own evils and help Crunchyroll project their evils onto Vic? Go ahead. But know this, I'm always going to be here to constantly call you out, to call you out whenever applicable. Because you're a self serving people pleaser who would rather sweep her own depravities under the rug instead of confront them head on. The true core of a narcissist and a grade A psycho. I'm not even going to bother saying what I normally do when I end these videos. Because I think I went too far down a rabbit hole again. A different set of rabbit holes and got lost in the scramble. Leave a comment, smash a like, and sub to the channel. This is Mets2128 signing out. Goodbye, and good fucking night. Bang.